Tonight, in this Me Too era, one North Carolina law firm has had 500% more calls from women claiming sexual harassment in their office.
And yet, at least here in the Carolinas, we investigated and found it is incredibly difficult to get legal recourse for sexual harassment in the workplace. WBTV anchor Molly Grantham has been looking into this for months. She joins us now with what she has uncovered. Molly?
Well, Paul and Maureen, awareness of Me Too is there, but awareness doesn't always mean much. Most women who said they'd been sexually harassed in the workplace didn't want to talk with me publicly, scared they'd lose their jobs, except for Liza. She's a school bus driver and strong-willed single mom, and she said when you're screaming Me Too as an hourly blue-collar worker, it feels more like #invisible.
I didn't feed into the advances of a supervisor.
Liza is a 48-year-old school bus driver in North Carolina. She claims over the course of 2 years, a supervisor made continued unwanted sexual advances. Things like waiting for her, overtly hitting on her, and one time she says, grabbing himself.
And he was like, something smell good. He was like, oh, that's you. And I was like, oh, that's Downy. And he was like, my Downy don't smell like that. And he grabbed his crotch.
Other comments and in-person meetings followed, and by the time Liza says she got up enough nerve to try legal action,
they told me I was too late.
She couldn't. North Carolina has a statute of limitations. Any workplace sexual harassment lawsuit must be brought within 6 months. Liza didn't make it, and no formal suit was ever brought against her employer, which is why we're intentionally not naming them.
Maybe it's past the statute of limitations. I will never forget his comments to me. I will never forget him grabbing himself in front of me.
It's going to be a hard battle.
Attorney Laura Noble confirms only 14 states and the District of Columbia have state laws against workplace sexual harassment. The Carolinas, you see, aren't on that list. That means anyone wanting to sue here has to use federal law, Title VII.
That means then you get to go to federal court.
Federal court means finding federal lawyers and higher filing fees. But Noble says the really hard part is convincing a federal judge not to dismiss your claim.
And a judge, who is typically an older man, just statistically, is going to decide whether the touches on your breast, touches on your buttocks, the lewd comments, the text messages, whether that affected your job in a way that would be legally prohibited under Title VII.
Be clear, Noble says, sexual harassment and the Me Too movement is not actually about sex.
Rise up! Study after study show it's based on power. CEOs of companies don't usually get harassed.
Because they're the top dog.
They're the top dog.
Liza was not the top dog.
Me too.
She went to HR, she filed complaints within her district, and frustrated, she made a YouTube video detailing what she says happened.
That's you.
She says she still wants her job, partly because she loves it.
I love the kids. I love them.
And partly out of principle. She doesn't want to quit.
If I quit, he wins. If I quit, if you don't tell people, if you don't tell your story, how are we going to get respect in the workplace?
Now, again, we intentionally did not name the school district in this story in an effort to keep the focus of the issue on harassment rather than the specific merit of this case, but the district reached out to us late this afternoon to say the allegations were fully investigated, and they say they did not find evidence to support Liza's claims. Okay, so let's talk about the definition of sexual harassment in the state, what this story is. Noble, the attorney, says the idea that if someone asks you out for a cup of coffee is going to create a lawsuit is ridiculous. The law says it has to be unwelcome. So if someone asks you out for a cup of coffee and you say no, and they ask you again, and they text you, then it gets repeated, that's harassment. If they keep asking and asking and asking, that's when we're getting into it because the conduct is unwelcome. You have to make it clear.
That's right. You have to say, no, I don't want to be involved with you.
It almost becomes on the shoulders of the woman to say absolutely nothing.
Give them the chance to turn it down, no question.
But dating, flirting, that happens. This is not about that. Sexual harassment law is about the continued unwanted, welcome harassment.
Well, Molly, to underscore that, the lawyer you spoke with says if you are being sexually harassed in the workplace, you should immediately document everything. Also, tell a trusted ally or mentor and follow the guidelines set out in the employee handbook. And remember, the statute of limitations is short. It's only 6 months.